Hello, you're watching Al Jazeera. A reminder of our top stories this hour. The US military says it's completed another round of strikes against Iran at the 9th consecutive night of attacks. Earlier, US Central Command said the service member had been killed in northern Iraq following an Iranian strike. The soldier died during a controlled detonation of an Iranian drone. Kuwait's military says air defense systems are currently intercepting hostile drone attacks from Iran. Earlier, the Kuwaiti Foreign Ministry condemned an Iranian strike on one of its water desalination plants. Israeli attacks have killed at least 4 Palestinians in the Gaza Strip. And in the occupied West Bank, Israeli settlers have shot and killed at least 2 Palestinians. Well, let's get more on our top story now, the conflicts between the US and Iran. And let's speak to Sina Azodi. He is Director of Middle East Studies, the Middle East Studies Programme at George Washington University, and joins us live from Washington, D.C. Thanks so much, Sina, for joining us. In the last hour or so, Marco Rubio saying that the US is still open to diplomacy. What do you think Iran's response to that would be amidst a 9th consecutive night of strikes?
I believe the issue of trust will be a big impediment in any U.S.-Iranian negotiations, because from the Iranian perspective, they were twice negotiating with the Americans last year when they were attacked. I believe that here at this point, the mediation of Pakistanis and Qataris, who played a significant role in bringing Iranians and Americans together last month, would be very significant. The question is, with the experience of this memorandum of understanding, which really is effectively falling apart, how much they're willing to play a role to bring the Iranians and Americans together again.
Falling apart or fallen apart, some may say, when it comes to the Memorandum of Understanding. Talking about Iran's strategy here, consistently targeting its neighbours, isn't it at risk of alienating itself and pushing those Gulf states closer towards Washington, especially when they're involved in these talks too?
There's a risk that I believe the Iranians have accepted to take. We had several Iranian officials stating, including Iran's chief nuclear negotiator, I should say one of the chief nuclear negotiators, Ghalibaf, who's also the Speaker of the Parliament. He stated that this war is a war of survival and existence for Iran. So this is why they're risking further deterioration of planned relations with the GCC countries, because they believe they're fighting for the survival. But ultimately, I think that once this war ends and the political settlement with the United States is reached, ultimately, I think in the medium and long term, the relationship with the GCC and Iran will improve.
And you talk about survival and existence. Let's take a look at Kuwait, Bahrain and Jordan's air defense systems. How long can they survive before this becomes unsustainable and these attacks become unsustainable for them and turn into a real humanitarian problem, especially if water and energy infrastructure continues to take hits?
Yes, I believe the Iranians and Americans have been targeting a lot of civilian infrastructure. We had 2 days ago, the Americans had targeted a water desalination facility in Iran, which cut off 10,000 people from drinking water, and Iran retaliated by attacking a Kuwaiti desalination facility. Their strategy is eye for eye. Now, how long the Kuwaitis and the GCC countries can sustain this, it depends on how long Iran can sustain its war with the United States. Certainly, no country will be able to sustain a long-term conflict with the United States, and that also, of course, includes Iran. But I don't believe that we will see a long-term conflict because of the domestic pressure in the United States. And of course, again, I do want to emphasize Iran's inability to sustain a long-term war with the world's most powerful military.
I'd be interested to hear you talk about the domestic pressure in the United States. We talk about that a lot here on Al Jazeera. What about the domestic pressure in Iran? Is it facing much especially when there is infrastructure still being hit there and people's lives are being affected?
Well, I mean, people are going through a lot of pain with electricity. We have to keep in mind that it's summer. It is very hot in the southern parts of the country. And we had a report by this company that is in charge of Iran's power grid. And their official statement was that Iran has lost 4,200 megawatt of its power generation capacity, which will be very difficult for Iranians. They're already facing energy deficiency. So it will make things worse. But Iran's ability and pain tolerance is much higher than the United States because of its historical experiences. Whereas the United States, I think, because it's a democracy, the American society and culture doesn't have the same pain tolerance as the Iranian society. I believe that the domestic pressure on the United States on the administration of Donald Trump will increase, especially as we are going to an election cycle in November.
Yes, those elections fast approaching surely will be on the president's mind. Sina Azodi from the Middle East Studies programme at George Washington University. Thank you for your thoughts on Al Jazeera.